Doc Leeson here, the podcasting beast from the East with the Professor John Gotti, the king of RNG, the troll, master, the data analyzing ninja. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, the conqueror of his own fate, the Terminator, Professor Omega, the cleaner.
I mean, I can't lift up anything because both my shoulders are shot, but I'll be back soon. But I am also the wise man of our tribal chief, the reigning, defending, undisputed, podcasting heavyweight champion of the world, Los Tranquilo himself, Doc El Idolo. Happy Tuesday to you, man. How you doing?
Happy Tuesday, Johnny. I'm going to tell you what I saw yesterday in that game. I saw that score, San Francisco and the Rams. I said, what would John Gotti say about this game? And he would say, NFC West gonna NFC West. If you would have told me coming into this week that the San Francisco 49ers would be the only team to win in the NFC West, I would have called you a fool.
Yeah.
Between the Seahawks getting shut out, the Rams, I mean, clearly they didn't miss Robert Woods that much. I thought Cooper Kupp was going to miss the heck out of Robert Woods, but Cooper Kupp
he still got his stuff. He still got his. Cooper Kupp still got, 11 reception for 122 yards. They just couldn't score. That was the problem.
Exactly. It was almost social media, of course, had a field day with the almost butt interception.
Of course.
I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Of course. I mean, between that and people talking about, OBJ is going to request a trade at halftime and all the, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
But we had the debut of Odell Beckham Jr., 3 targets, 2 receptions, 18 yards, nothing to, write home about.
Of course.
But I mean, ultimately, this came down to Sam.
Also, the debut of Von Miller too. Don't forget about that one.
Oh, I thought Von Miller was out.
He ended up being active. He was
awesome.
He was a late right on instead of a scratch.
Which makes this even worse because now you have the addition of 2, past Pro Bowlers. In which Von Miller, he had a pretty good game. 2 tackles, 1 assisted, 1 tackle for loss. Von Miller and Aaron Donald is going to be something to watch for the rest of the season. We just got to see exactly what happens. But I mean, enough about the Rams. I mean, Jimmy G said 15 for 19, 182, 2 touchdowns. Eli Mitchell, who the bleep is that, right? 27 carries for 91 yards. But the show really was about Deebo Samuel.
Who?
5 receptions, 97 yards, 1 touchdown, as well as 5 carries for 36 yards. He put them on his back.
You know what I wonder, Doc?
And
I'm glad that you mentioned all these stats, and you did a great job with that. Remember how people were saying that Jimmy G was not the answer? Because Petro Farms members.
But Jimmy G...
And I say that to say this.
He did what he's supposed to do.
This is the way people look at football. Yeah. They look at football week to week, and they change their mind so frequently that they forget about what they said a month ago.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to make of the 49ers. I'm not sure, and this is what I said before the game, that they pretty much don't have a true identity, and we just never know what exactly is going to happen with the 49ers.
I completely agree with you. I think the 49ers are like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. But speaking of
but
box of chocolates,
but to your point, Doc, like I said earlier this season, NFC West is gonna NFC West.
which is exactly what I thought once I saw the score and the stats of that game. But speaking of, you just never know what you're going to get. My Duke Blue Devils in a tizzy here as two Duke basketball players were arrested on DWI charges. Walk on and Coach K's grandson, Michael Savarino, and star freshman, potential lottery, I can't even say lottery, top five pick. I know some people had him going potentially number one as a one and done, Paolo Banchero,
Yep.
charged with crimes related to driving while under the influence. It seems as though here North Carolina State troopers pulled over Savarino, who was 20 years old, around 1 a.m. and said that he ran a stop sign and was showing signs of impairment. He did take the breathalyzer and blew .08, which is over what is legally allowed in North Carolina. And he was scheduled a court date of December 9th related to those charges. Really just failing to yield to the stop sign and then driving after consuming alcohol. He also had his driver's license revoked for 30 days, which that's, of course, North Carolina state law.
Of course.
The interesting part, Banchero, 19, faces charges of aiding and abetting DWI, which I'm not 100% sure about how that works. But he's expected, like I said, to be a one and done player. He was already voted the ACC preseason player of the year. And again, I mean, people have him slated to be a top pick. So I wonder if Savarino, takes the takes the L for this one.
He might need to. Um,
Yeah,
the whole aid and abetting piece, I feel like it could be retaliated. I mean, granted, we don't have the tape, and
sure.
that's the problem that I have. Like
Hmm.
saying aiding and abetting is like him telling Michael
Right.
Savarino, you know,
Hey,
you
run
don't
that
have to
stop
do
sign.
this. You well,
Hmm.
no, not that. I'm talking about as far as like the interaction with the police officer kind of thing.
Ah, that makes okay. Okay. I can understand that. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
like he's basically saying, "Hey, you don't need to do the breathalyzer test. Like, you don't need to say anything."
I mean, but is that aiding and abetting, or you think they just slapped that on
I
them?
think they slapped that on as a, "Oh, well, you think you're smart? Well, I am in college. Okay, aiding and abetting."
Mm.
That's something that could happen. I'm not
No,
saying that's
absolutely.
what happened, but it's really strange to hear about the passenger being charged with aiding and abetting during the DUI stop.
Facts. That is facts. Funny because when you look at freaking Instagram, again, it talks about Savarino, but it's really about Paolo,
Yeah.
Napoleon, James, Banchero. It's all about him. He's
Wow.
6'10", 250. Duke's, Mike, Coach K's final run, is pretty much riding on him and Wendell Moore,
Yep.
a couple other guys, but it's riding on him, and he's the ticket. So it's just interesting to see how the storyline
Well, and
is kind of
that's why I thought it was interesting when I read that Banchero was charged and then later released, which means that there's not really a whole lot of gravity to the charge. And I think it was more of a, okay, well, you're a star player. Let me show you,
Hmm.
what happens when you get yourself caught up in these situations and how it can impact you in the future. Because it's going to impact them now.
And so here you go.
Now, now was, and I apologize for interrupting, but
No,
now,
no, no, no. You're fine.
when and if he goes to the combine and
Oh
he has to
man,
do the interview section, that's all they're going to be asking him about.
absolutely. But you know what else is going to come out eventually, right? And this is where politics and media baiting comes in. Hey, I wonder if those police officers are UNC fans.
Mm, they're not facing UNC this week, are they?
Doesn't matter. The rivalry is alive and well. You know,
Then I feel like if that's the case, I mean, granted, they're not going to be able to prove that in the court.
of course,
So
unless they're like UNC
it's
boosters or something.
now they're a booster. That's a totally different question. Now we have an issue of conflict of interest,
Big
or if
conflict.
he or the police officer who did the arrest is affiliated within a booster by any means. And I'm pretty sure the
True.
internet, which is undefeated, can find that information out pretty fast. But
Undefeated.
outside of those type of extenuating circumstances, I don't think,
Hmm.
even if he's just a fan, like I don't think they're going to be able to prove that in court.
I can agree with that. I just wanted to throw a little wrench in there just to see. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, the charges against Banchero is going to get dropped. And Savarino's probably going to have to do a program to get the charges dropped, and then we're never going to hear from this guy.
Possibly. Duke
Like,
does
like,
play
like, like this situation pales in comparison with the Henry Ruggs situation. Like people are still talking about that situation.
again. I mean, we're talking about the difference now between hitting someone and them actually dying and running a stop
Exactly.
sign.
Exactly.
Completely different. But both I expect to be charged according to the crime, and not be slapped on the wrist. I'm sure the defender, defendant, the defending lawyers, right, for these kids are going to say, hey, this is the first time they got in trouble. Same thing they're going to say for Henry Ruggs. I mean, it's going to all be the same. First time they got in trouble, first time they've been in this kind of situation, blah, 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 blah. Slap on
Like
the wrist,
here's
maybe.
here's the thing. This would be even more interesting if Banchero ended up having to do a breathalyzer and he was over the limit as well too. Like that would have
Yeah,
been differently, but not one story talked about that.
true. That's true.
That's all I'm trying to say. So he
No,
was
that's a good
just
point.
sitting in the car.
Nah, that's a
As
good
far
point.
as I know, until other information come out, he was just sitting in the car. Like I'm pretty sure he probably there's so many different routes and so many different avenues that we can take with this story with as limited information as possible that we can just speculate on so many different conclusions, and that's the magic of it all. But that's also to the detriment of these two young men.
I could understand what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. And I guess we'll have to wait and see exactly, what happens next with this. Um, again, I know we talk about that a lot with star athletes, and
Yep.
if this was a regular person, would they get that same treatment? So we'll have to just wait and see um, exactly what happens next. But I'm looking forward to the rest of this week. I mean, I'm not looking forward to the Rockets, of course, because they just continue to get swept. And
Oh Doc, the Knicks pretty much shut out the Pacers in the fourth quarter, and they only scored 10 points and only scored two field goals. You think I'm happy about that? Absolutely not. I want to see consistency. You think I care about that crap? Oh, we gotta win. I don't care. I want to see consistent defense. Screw that
can I
noise.
not to not to quote? I know we said we weren't going to use this quote anymore. Um, and I'll probably skip the first two words, which is playoffs, playoffs. But I'm gonna get straight to the. I just want to win another game. I just want to win another game. We're getting 1-13 or 1-12. Like it's really bad.
I'm so sorry, Doc, but the succubus. It really is. It's
It's like
real.
really bad. Like I'm looking at it and I'm watching and I'm like, okay, we have young players. Sure, everybody's like, oh, what do you expect? A whole bunch of 19-year-olds, but I just expect more than what I'm seeing.
It's
Like
the
it's not just missed
succubus.
shots. Like it's not just missed shots. It's like there's no defense. Like
Zero.
let me see what NBA defensive rating right now. I'm just
Oh
so
no, don't
curious.
do that.
Like
You're gonna make yourself depressed, Doc. Don't do it. Don't do
no,
it.
I just want to see it.
Don't
Houston
do it.
Rockets dead last. Oh my
I
god,
told him
it's
not to
so
do it.
bad.
I tried
It's
to
so
warn him. I tried to warn him.
bad. It's so bad though, man. It's like I don't even understand like what's happening. We're just not doing what we're supposed to do. And I was actually looking forward to, seeing Silas in his second year, getting the number two pick, Jalen Green, Christian Wood taking a step forward.
You can tell you the
I really
worst part
felt
about all this too. Now Silas is gonna lose his job.
right. Well, see, here's the thing. Like, so some people are saying, I think now that Kevin Porter Jr. might be out, some people are like, well, hey, now we can play John Wall. But it's like, yikes,
No, they just
yikes.
got finished going the whole offseason trying to get rid of him,
Well,
disrespecting him.
apparently, he's never gonna play. That's the whole thing. They're saying he's not gonna play for the Rockets anymore. They're just gonna pay him his $44 million contract pretty much until somebody gets desperate enough to want to take him or they agree to a buyout. But it's like, who wants to take on $44 million for a guy that you don't know can still go? Like I'm sure a playoff team, I mean, we're gonna have to wait, 40, 50 games in or whatever the trade deadline is. They might be like, oh, you know what? We'll take John Wall.
Yes.
He's rested clearly. Um, we might take him. Honestly, I'm interested to see what happens. There's a lot of talk about, especially from fans, about trading Christian Wood, you know, 10,
Well,
12
you
games
said
into the
you
season.
wanted to trade Christian Wood.
I like Alfred Sengun a lot. He's giving me a lot of Gasol brother moves. He's not just because he's an Italian, not Italian, an international player. I was trying to say international, not Italian. I was trying to say international.
Ellen,
I
go
know
back in
he's
the
from.
office. Everything is
Yeah, I
fine,
know.
Ellen.
Yeah,
Everything
I
is
know he's from
fine.
Turkey. He's from Turkey. I know. I was gonna say international, not Italian. International. Um,
Well, there
but
goes our there goes our Italian listeners now just leaving. Thanks, Doc.
no, 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 no. I am look forward to seeing him get more time, as well as Josh Christopher. I don't know. How about the Knicks rookies? Are the Knicks rookies doing good?
We need to give our rookies a little bit more burn.
Uh,
Our problem has always been, and this is a Tibbs habit.
mm-hmm.
He tends to run his star players into the ground, and then
That's
by the
true.
time the playoffs happen, then all of a sudden he put the rookies in. Like, well, kid, here's your shot.
I
So that's always been my issue with Tibbs.
do like the fact that even though he doesn't get a lot of attention now,
Hmm.
um, I would say that RJ Barrett has been playing pretty well. I
He
know he had a
has
big shot.
he. I would say that he definitely took his game to another level, which is what we would
Mm-hmm.
expect. This is his third year,
Mm-hmm.
usually it's that third year when you see what they really have. And
Yeah.
I'm still so far been correct about my prediction about between him and Zion. So I just want to make
Oh
sure that
yeah.
everyone knows that I had that read. People thought I was losing my mind, but I said I wanted RJ instead of Zion.
I think Zion, despite the fact that we know that he's, a polarizing figure with his size, um, I think eventually he's going to have to bring it down.
He's going to have to bring it down. Unfortunately, he's getting that Sean Kemp
Right.
bad luck, and
Hmm.
that's the part that stinks. But Miles McBride definitely needs some more run. Um,
Hmm.
Quentin Grimes absolutely needs more run.
Quentin Grimes. Sorry.
I know. I was waiting for that actually.
But Johnny, I know the people heard this podcast on the favorite podcast platform. Are you
We're
giving
not
me a
going to do the
technical
power
right now?
rankings.
No, we're gonna wait till the Power Rangers till tomorrow.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I mean,
Yeah, we don't want the people to come back for the Power
oh,
Rankings. We want the
we
people to
don't want to spoil it for them.
No, 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 no. We want them to come back and see who's number one. Do we have a new number one? We might have a new number one. But guess what?
I can't spoil it, but there has been movement in the power rankings.
That's all right. I expect at least one team really to fall dramatically, and that's Tampa Bay because they stink. But
We'll see.
I know that people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform, but if they didn't, they can always come back to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to hear this episode as well as all of our previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over the power rankings as well as all the news, the analysis, and the reads.
I'm gonna inject a little bit of poison